I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, June the 23rd, brought to you in part by the new Nasalgen. Bovolus Nasalgen 3 PMH is the first and only intranasal vaccine with both viral protection and bacterial protection against pneumonia to effectively protect your cattle against IBR, BRSV, PI3, Pasteurella, and Mannheimia. For more information, go to unmatchedprotection.com. Another battle won. We're still fighting the war, but we won another battle, and it was a big one. On Wednesday morning, the Senate Ag Committee marked up both bills, the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act and the Special Investigators Bill, and approved those bills. Now they will be going for vote on the floor in the Senate. That was a major, major victory that we really probably months ago questioned whether we could get it done or not, but we absolutely got it done. There was a little bit of a debate on it. We had a Colorado senator that did attach one amendment that just had to do with some transparency where USDA may redraw some of the regions, which that could be an issue when it gets there. Those regions that are outside the 5 area really don't want to be part of your 5 area feeding region, because your packers will not want to give top prices or higher than they're giving everybody else for cattle. Right now they'll do it because they don't go into the average for the 5 area feeding region, but they could if they encompass those areas. But that remains to be seen, but he did attach the amendment for that. We had a couple of other senators, namely Marshall from Kansas, did go in there and make a talk about how he had thought about putting an amendment on there that would strike out the meat of the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, which is the mandates for minimum cash trade, but knew that he didn't have the votes, so he withdrew that. But now they tell me once it gets on the Senate floor, we could see those amendments come back. But we really doubt so, or else if they thought that needed to be done, they would have figured it would have got done in the Senate Ag Committee. But nevertheless, it was great. There was also some good debate. Spartacus, Senator Booker there, he's really headstrong about this truth in labeling. Of course, he called it mandatory country of origin labeling, which everybody wants back. I'm not sure we'll ever get that back the way it was before, but we could still get truth in labeling, which would limit the ability for this foreign meat to come in and be labeled. We just won't have the particulars on the different countries that it could come from, which we really don't need that either. We just want to know whether it is all U.S. or whether it ain't, and that's what the truth in labeling is all about. But it was a great, great victory, a big victory for U.S. Cattlemen's Association. I'm coming to you from San Marcos, Texas, at the Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas, which is a affiliate of U.S. Cattlemen's Association. Everybody here was excited about it. We did have Leah Biondo here, and we also had the president of U.S. Cattlemen's Association. And so it's a big, big deal. It's nothing minor that we got done. Nobody thought we'd get it done, especially those that were fighting it. Your National Corporate Beef Association doesn't have the pull that they thought they did, and neither does North American Meat Institute, evidently, because they would have never let it get this far. We are right there at the goal line, guys, but it's still 4th down. We've got to get this deal pushed through. We've got a small window to get it done. I believe in my heart it will maintain this industry for your kids and your grandkids if we get this deal done. And if we don't get it done, the days are numbered for all of us. But what else do we want to talk about on Wednesday? The deliveries worked. I talked on our last visit about the 25 deliveries that were tendered for Tulia, Texas, and you think, gosh, why would they do that whenever the board wasn't even 138 when they tendered those cattle for delivery? Well, we found out some more information about that, and I was not completely right with the 3 reasons that I said people would deliver cattle in such a an atmosphere whenever we had lower price on your spot delivery month, and we're well deep in here in June live cattle. It was lower than what your averages are because your averages include the northern plains where they're negotiating for big prices on cattle, but the southern plains have no leverage, of course, because they don't negotiate enough. That's why we want this bill. But in fact, it was an independent feed yard in Texas, in the Dimmitt, Texas area, a big feedlot area. And that particular feedlot has only been able to sell cattle to one packer of late, and not getting along very good. Had a lot of cattle to move, and they're not nearly as current and not green like they are in the northern plains or in the Midwest in Texas. And so he had a lot of cattle to sell. He's got a lot of different kinds of cattle. He's got plenty of good cattle there to deliver. Just hasn't been happy with what he's been able to negotiate there because he doesn't have any leverage, and likely your packers were using a little bit of retaliatory action against him because he hasn't been on their great list lately. But he got frustrated with it and decided, well, this is the way I'm going to market my cattle. So he did tender those 25. Another 25 were tendered on Wednesday, and then from what we hear, he's got another 25 here today that he will tender. That'll be 75 contracts of cattle. It won't be 75 full loads because it's based on a train car load, 40,000 pounds, but still a lot of cattle there to be delivered out of one big feed yard there. And it did do what it was supposed to do. Whenever you deliver cattle, it gets the board to back off. Well, the board wasn't even where we need it to be. It's been trading at a big discount to what cash is, yet it pulled it down even more. Because what does it do? It scares all your longs off. And the longs are not packers, like I've told you guys. They don't have to long hedge because everybody signs these deals where they promise them the cattle already, so they don't even have to do that. So it worked hard on your board. Live cattle futures were down hard. Feeder cattle futures were down hard, and the corn was back up a little bit, but not nearly as much as it was down on Tuesday. But that's kind of the way that deal worked. But here at San Marcos, Texas, and gave a presentation on cattle marketing and the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act. A lot of interest. Everybody's for this deal here. Going to be moderating a panel with U.S. Cattlemen's Association leadership here on Thursday. We are also going to be, or I'm going to be flying to New Orleans on Friday and giving a presentation on the same type of thing to the Louisiana Farm Bureau, that's great because the National Farm Bureau Federation has said that they're totally against it, but not all of these state groups are totally against it, and they wanted me to come and they wanted to hear the presentation. I'm glad to be able to go down there and do it. But let's talk about your board on Wednesday. June live cattle futures down $1.70 at 136.12. August down $1.32 at 134.92. Back months on live cattle down $1.05 to down 140. Feeder cattle contracts August down 215, 173.15. Now your feeder cattle are trading at a big premium to what cash is bringing right now. Not necessarily individual groups, but what the average and what cash feeders are bringing. But you got to remember that's the August contract. We don't have a June, we don't have a July feeder cattle contract, and we're expecting this market to continue to get better. And that's the reason why we're so far back, even on our index levels there. But September feeder cattle down $1.97 at 175.30. Your back months on feeder cattle down 87 to down 167. I told you corn was higher, up 7 1/4 cents a bushel, ending regular trading on Wednesday at 7.68 a bushel. Beans down 28 1/4 at 16.52 3/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 2 cents at 10.39 1/4. Fat cattle trade, we saw some pretty robust trade in the southern plains, not a whole lot in the northern plains. I'll tell you what, there's just not a whole lot of really finished cattle there. They are so green there. Packers are desperately looking for cattle that will grade, choice and high choice and better. Not a lot of those cattle out there. And those pesky negotiated sellers there in the northern plains and Midwest, they want more for the cattle because they know the demand is there. and the packers, they hate to inflate this market anymore, especially as their box beef cutouts are failing, even though we're going right into these big summer holidays. But Colorado had 100 head confirmed on Wednesday at 138. That's lower. Iowa 1,300 confirmed from 144 to 145. That's in the range of last week. Nebraska 1,600 head confirmed on Wednesday. Live price was 145. Dress price was higher, 239 to 240, and that 240 would be $4 better than anything we saw dressed last week. Kansas sold 6,800 head, basically steady with last week, but we were hoping it'd be higher and they would close that gap between the north and the south. But Kansas's confirmed sales on Wednesday were 137 to 140. Texas, 1,100 head confirmed on Wednesday, but all of a sudden it shows up 6,400 head for the week. So evidently late Tuesday there was some trade in there, but your live sales in Texas on Wednesday, 137 to mostly 138, which is basically steady. Box beef cutout values were lower again, not a lot, but still lower. People gotta, they gotta put gas in their car. They can't afford these big prices on beef whenever there's a lot of good competitors out there and there's cheaper products that they can buy on the beef too. But choice cuts 266.57, down 99 cents. Select down 71 cents at 245.99. Your slaughter, pretty aggressive here, guys. A lot more than comparisons. 376,000 through the first 3 days of this week. That's 8,000 more than last week. 21,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talking about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services. They are the professionals that can help you out with your livestock risk protection policies, guys. And these guys do a lot of them. They're located in and around the state of Oklahoma there. I've got several of these agents you can get a hold of. They do lots of them, guys. There's lots of backgrounding in that area, and they do a lot of them. If you just have questions about it, you're interested in how much it would cost, interested in how it would match up with what you're wanting to offset your risk on, get a hold of Livestock Risk Services. Talking about your feeder cattle market on Wednesday, real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Wednesday sitting at 165.40, up another 29 cents. And man, did they have a smoker at one of our biggest high volume sales, OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 7,200 head, including the light run of calves that they had on Tuesday. But feeder steers $2 to $8 higher than last week. Feeder heifers $5 to $8 higher. Calves $4 to $6 higher. Look at this automated market report out of El Reno from Cattle Market Central there. You see all the cattle that went through there, and let's look at the best tested weights of steers. 721 head of 7-weight steers, average 748, with a weighted average price on all those 7-weight steers of 167.36. 1,368 head of 8-weight steers through the ring at OKC West, El Reno Livestock Market. The 8-weight steers averaged 844. Weighted average price on all of them was 163.56. Wow. 676 head of 9-weight steers and El Reno averaged 930 pounds with a weighted average price of 162.06. Going to give you some 10-weight cattle, and that's our top quote for the day here in a minute. How about Winter Livestock, Dodge City, Kansas? Kind of a light run there for them. Only 1,200 head, and the market was kind of mixed on lighter receipts there, and that just happens this time of the year. And not a lot of big sales, guys. The runs are light. We're not seeing a whole lot of cattle moving right now, which is normal for this time of year. We're going to see a lot of cattle move off the Flint Hills of Kansas in the late part of July. Most of those will be sold direct private treaty. I'll give you as many markets on those as I can when they start trading them. I do have contacts out there that will share that information, but it's getting wilder all the time on what those cattle are going to bring. Those are the best demanded feeder cattle of the whole year coming off the Flint Hills there, and those blue stem cattle just feed so much better than anything else you can buy. How about a couple of individual quotes? Bluegrass Stockyards in Albany, Kentucky had an internet sale there on Wednesday. Kenneth Neely sells 2 loads of 710-pound heifers going to feed at $164.90. Big time quote on some heifers out of Kentucky there. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday National Beef Wire top quote for the day indeed come out of El Reno, Oklahoma. 164 head of steers weighed 1026 at 166.60. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.